What's up, Star Wars nerds? And on today's episode of Hyperdrives, we're going to take a look at the brand new TC-14 figure from Disney's Droid Factory line. Here's a look at the card back. A very grainy image of TC-14. It seems like they could have found something a little more in focus. And on the back, you've got all that information and a lot of data there calling out on the blueprint, so to speak, for TC-14. And here she is out of the packaging. Let's take a look at her accessories first. She's got this drink tray with the 2 drinks, and they are static. You cannot take those drinks off. And there is the drink dispenser or decanter, and it's got a peg hole there, so you can just put it on the tray. And these are painted in that same silver metallic as the droid itself. It's just unfortunate how this arrangement looks.
Hello there.
Next up, let's take a closer look at the appearance of the droid itself, and she is done in this highly metallic silver paint. I have to admit, I'm very impressed. It's a lot better looking in hand than I thought it would be. The detailing is pretty good. I love the paint job on the wires, by the way, the blue and red. That looks fantastic. But some of the molding is a bit on the softer side, which we've kind of come to expect with Droid Factory figures, so it's not quite up to the standards that a new TVC figure could be. And here's how she looks holding her drink tray. She can hold it. It's a little bit tricky to get it level. It would be awesome if she had hinge wrist to level out that tray, but of course Droid Factory is not going to do hinge wrists. So speaking of hinges, let's run through the articulation. You got a simple swivel there at the head. You've got a swivel at the shoulder, but you got a nice ball hinge at the elbow, which gets plenty of angle. And you got a simple swivel at the wrist. At the crunch or the torso area, you've got full range of motion horizontally, and then vertically got a little bit of play there. You've got swivel hips, unfortunately, and a good hinge there at the knee to get 90 degrees. And then you have a standard hinge at the ankle, which is fairly limited. So overall, the articulation is not up to today's standards, but I do feel like it's good enough for a protocol droid. I mean, these are not action-packed characters. They move around very stiffly, so I think this articulation is adequate. Next, I'd like to bring in the only TC-14 we have from Hasbro. This is the one from the 30th anniversary line, but it is the exact same figure from the original Phantom Menace line. So the Hasbro TC-14 obviously has the vac metal. I do love vac metal. You can see how you feel about the difference there, but the metallic paint is growing on me. You can see the scale for both these figures is good. They're about the same height, and I think that is a good height. You can see with the drink tray, Hasbro also used the same vac metal as the droid itself. It's just that their dispenser is a bit bigger. The articulation on the Hasbro TC-14 is atrocious. It is 5 POA. It is no better than the original 3 PO we got in the 1970s. And it really is a shame that when they released her in the 30th anniversary that they repacked that 5 POA figure, because it is pretty bad. So let's bring in my favorite Hasbro protocol droid. This is the C-3PO from the 2006 Saga line. This is the Ewok Throne 3PO. And I just love the way this one looks. I think they nailed it with the vac metallization, but it is a little bit on the short side. I think the TC-14 from Droid Factory is a better scale. Taking a closer look, you can see the Hasbro 3PO has a more defined head sculpt than the Disney TC-14, and it did just as good a job as the TC-14 with the other details. But obviously the TC-14 beats this 3PO in articulation because the 3PO has 0 articulation in the elbows. So there are some trade-offs between these two figures, but I cannot definitively say I like the TC-14 better. And I also have to say that I'm not quite sure this new TC-14 is actually any better than the 2008 Build-A-Droid U-3PO from the Legacy Collection. Sorry I don't have this one in hand to compare for you guys, but they do look very similar, and the articulation is exactly the same as far as I can tell. So as Disney put out the best 3.75 protocol droid figure to date, and not necessarily, but it is a very good one, and it does show me that metallic paint, when done correctly, can be a suitable alternative to vac metal. So let's wrap up this review by getting her on the spinny spinny.